Welcome to part 3 of Watercolor Peony painting tutorial, and this is finishing part of this enlarged peony flower head. Reference and line drawing are available for download. Part 1 and Part 2 are also available, where all the process from the beginning stages can be seen and followed. 1 week has passed since I finished painting Part 2, and when you are refreshing your watercolors after a little while, be sure that there is no dust, some hairs maybe on your palette. It's better if you know that you will pass for some while, cover your palette with a plastic wrap or put it in a drawer, whatever works best for you. And using the same watercolors that we did previously, in this part I also added Alizarin Crimson, so I have a mix of permanent rose with Indian yellow for the more warmer colors. Added Alizarin Crimson to the same mix to make it a little bit more saturated. In this part, in the finishing stage of this large peony, I'm giving more saturation to petals and separating them one from each other. In some areas using also permanent rose mixed with Perylene Violet. Not very much of Perylene Violet, be very careful. You can very fast make it too dark. This is a very strong pigment. And still I'm painting in very thin layers, maybe a little bit more darker compared to part 1 and part 2, but still after each layer everything is visible. I'm not completely covering everything up. And as I apply watercolors, I wash my brush and then I smooth out with clean and dry brush, so there are no sharp edges where the watercolor stopped. And as you can see now, I'm adding more darkness to the very base where one petal meets the other, where one overlaps the other and creates a cast shadow on the petal underneath. So now is the thing to add more color details. As you can see now, I'm adding Perylene Violet to separate or to add some dark spots where is a completely dark area. Still looking constantly in reference. Even though I'm painting for many hours this peony head, I'm still, every time that I paint some petal, some area, I constantly look at reference. Mostly using my 2 usual brushes, fine tip brush for more detailed work where I need a very fine line to separate petal one from each other, and round synthetic brush for smoother layers, for more watery layers, for smoothing out. This is the best brush, works perfectly here. And I'm applying watercolors on a completely dry surface. Petals which I am painting are dry. I'm not adding too much water at this stage because I need to build more and more saturation, moving from one petal to another, working on the whole composition. There's so much work to be done. I will be skipping some parts because otherwise this video would be very long. to cover all from the beginning till finishing touches, but technique is the same. Now I'm building more saturation, more volume, separating petal one from each other. Now I'm at the finishing stage of filming this last part 3 of large peony flower, and it's not quite a finish for this flower. I think I will paint for another hour. The technique is the same, the process is the same. It's just a matter of applying the same saturation, light saturation color mixes of one layer after another to get this richness, saturation, vividness of this very beautiful peony flower. Petals are separated nicely, their job is done perfectly. It's just a matter of making some petals more brighter, more saturated, and also a little bit of more detailed work on the stamens in the center part. But completely this painting is finished. It's just a matter of your likes. You could stop after part 2. It's just a matter of your patience and your dedication to push yourself further. Technique is the same. You can just move on, take a little break and come back and paint again. But now I'm finishing for this one. Thank you for being here, thank you for watching, and hope you try to paint this peony flower and learn something new. See you in my next tutorials. Thank you, bye bye.